So for the fourth talk in the lecture series of Professor Voisin, we have a talking about the degeneration method and various improvements.
Thank you. So I recall where we were arrived yesterday, namely that if X is stably rational, that implies that X has a cohomological or Chow decomposition of the diagonal. And well, of course, the notions are maybe different. The cohomological setting, so I proved that it implied the vanishing of the two invariants that have been discussed before. Well, this invariant Z4 of X, of course. Okay, so this was for the cohomological setting, and the Chow setting was implying more, namely all the ramified cohomology group with torsion coefficient. In fact, with any coefficient are 0 for positive I. As I explained, in the rationally connected case, we have to consider only torsion, ramified cohomology with torsion coefficient, because ramified cohomology with Z or Q coefficient vanishes. Okay, and so I had also explained that these groups, they are the first, the small degree ramified cohomology groups, namely this one is H2 and this one is H3. It turns out that in that case, they are controlled by cohomology. We had this explicit description. But then when you go to higher degree, what you see is becomes more and more cycle theoretic and close to K theories and closer to K theories than cohomology. Okay, and so what I'm going to do today will show that in fact these implications are strict, and that actually this property is contains many more invariants that will be discussed tomorrow. So of course, for the purpose of the application to the Lurod problem, you will say things in the equivalent formulation that if X has a non-zero invariant like this, it is not stably rational. If X does not have a decomposition of the diagonal, it is not stably rational. Okay, so now the point that will make things work is that this property has a good specialization properties. So that is the way it works. It works in family and particularly under specialization. So I have to. One has to be careful when stating this. And I will in fact give maybe several versions of this specialization property. So the first one was due to me, with a very mild specialization to a central fiber with ordinary quadratic singularities. Then people improved by putting more slightly more complicated singularities. But as you will see, one has to be careful in stating what is the load on the central fiber. So that will be essentially the contents of the talk for today. So the result is the following. I already stated it in the first lecture. So it's the result which more or less started the whole recent development of the subject. Since 3 years, with many more developments after this first start. So it's this. So let's consider projective flat projective morphism. Be a smooth curve, or you can think also in the analytic category, it's a disk. So I have to assume that xt, so let's assume that xt is smooth for t different from a point, a reference point in B. And let's assume that x0 has ordinary quadratic singularities. Here I have also to assume that the dimension of the fibers is at least 2. And then if the general, so here we are over C. After that, I will explain the specialization result in different, less geometric context. Then, if the general fiber xt has a Chow decomposition of the diagonal, so does x0 tilde, which is the desingularization of x0, for example, by blowing up its node. I explained that having a decomposition of the diagonal is birational invariant, so if it is true for one desingularization, it will be true for any desingularization. So, and then for the Chow version, for the cohomological version, so now it's cohomological. Okay. And then I have to assume that the even degree cohomology of your x0 tilde is algebraic. Then the singularized central fiber has a cohomological decomposition of diagonal. So I want to prove this, but before I want to make some comments on the assumption. So here the term general is a little vague, and in fact the point is that so maybe I'll write it as a lemma, that the set of points t in the base such that so now I am working over the complex number. So what I mean it's complex point here, such that xt has a Chow or cohomological decomposition of diagonal. This set is a countable union of closed algebraic subsets of B. So sorry, it's a B. It's a B. I would say. Okay, so the set. It's the set of points B reg. It's a regular locus of pi. So here I am considering a smooth fiber. It's not very hard because I mean it's really a consequence of standard argument, because having a Chow decomposition of the diagonal means that you should have a divisor dt contained in xt. You should have a cycle zt supported on dt cross xt, such that the diagonal of xt is rationally equivalent to, yes, maybe let's assume from the beginning that my B has a section. So after making a base change on B, I will get this. So let's assume this, and so when I will say xt, that will be of xt. So such that the delta xt is xt cross xt plus zt in ch of xt cross xt. And, but the point is that when you start a sentence like this, you are picking a point in a Chow variety above the point T. So in fact, you are considering a relative Chow variety over B. But the relative Chow varieties, they are proper over B. And so finally, that condition here, it's satisfied on, it is known to be, so it's an equality in rational equivalence, so it will be satisfied on a countable union of closed algebraic subset of the corresponding Chow variety. So finally, these data are parameterized by a countable union of closed algebraic varieties over which are proper over B. And so we consider the image, and that will give exactly this. So the conclusion is that I assume that here my B is a smooth curve. The conclusion is that my assumption, the assumption that the T has, xt has a Chow decomposition of the diagonal or cohomological decomposition of the diagonal, either it is satisfied only on countably many points, or it is satisfied everywhere. So that's why this, well, maybe I could replace this by all smooth, but, or in fact, I could also replace this by an uncountable set of points, for example. That would be enough because of this result. Okay, so now the second point that I wanted to make is the fact that the assumptions that I impose to the central fibers, these assumptions that of ordinary quadratic singularities, I will show, because it has been relaxed by other works, that this is too strong. But in any case, an assumption on the singularity is unavoidable. And the standard example is this. You consider for xt a smooth cubic surface. So defined by a homogeneous polynomial equation of degree 3 in P3. And then you specialize to x0, which is a cubic surface, which is a cone over an elliptic curve in P2. That means that your f0 will depend it's ft of x0, x3, and here the f0 will depend only on x0, x2. So in that case, your x0, so it's a cone like this. So of course there is a big singular point here. Now what happens is that when you blow up that point, what you get it is a P1 bundle over your elliptic curve. And this is very bad because this one has differential forms, and as I explained, this prevents the existence of a decomposition of the diagonal. So really, this example contains well the part of the meaning of the assumption. Okay, so now let me go to the proof. So maybe it's ridiculous to write the statement here, and now I don't know what to erase. So the proof So the step one, which does not depend on the assumption on singularities, x0 has a Chow decomposition of the diagonal. So, of course, the x0 is singular. In principle, I mentioned decomposition of the diagonal in the smooth setting, but that really makes sense. This is saying that delta x0, it's CH. Now, of course, I consider rather this. So rational equivalence makes sense also for singular varieties, and my conclusion is this, that and this Z0 is supported on Z0 cross X0. This equality is in Chn of X0 cross X0. So here you absolutely don't need the smoothness to state this. So in fact, that statement essentially follows from this explanation. Because in fact you can, looking a little more at the explanation I gave, I see that so if the general xt has a Chow decomposition of the diagonal, there exists in fact maybe after after making a base change, so over 0 that will introduce some ramification, but we do not care because that will not change the fibers of the family. And there exists a relative Chow decomposition of the diagonal in the sense, well, so there exists the dt which appeared here, they are put in family. Okay, so now I make the base change here, x, and here I will get the x prime. So there exists a d contained, so it's a relative divisor, and there exists a z, which is supported, it's Chn of x prime cross, d cross b prime x prime, okay, such that for at a general point, at a P general, we have delta x prime t, rationally equivalent to x prime t cross xt plus z prime t in Chn of x prime t cross x prime t. But well, this is just saying that rational equivalence can be put in family if I have enough points where it is satisfied, and that absolutely follows from this Chow variety argument. And then, no, the rational equivalence relation can be true only at the general point, but this implies, in fact, by specialization, that this is also true after restriction to x prime 0, which is the same as x0. And then that gives me so this is not z prime, it's z. And then that gives me exactly a decomposition of the diagonal for this x0. So, well, here I describe a sort of the down to Hertz version of the Fulton specialization argument for cycles. So maybe I will explain later how you can do it in a more algebraic geometry setting. But in any case, we have this. So at this point, of course, I absolutely did not use the assumption on singularities, and in particular, it will be the result applied to this situation. And indeed, before the singularization, the x0, because all the lines here are meeting to this point, it is clearly true that it has a trivial CH0, etc. So now, where the assumption on singularities is arriving. Okay, so now we have this. Now I come back to my x0. So now I know that there are a number of points xi. So maybe call it yi. So there are the singular points. Okay, and I desingularize by blowing up the singular points, and the point that because the singularities are ordinary double points, the exceptional divisor are quadrics. And it turns out that it is important that this quadric is of dimension at least 1. If I was for n equal 1, I would have a quadric of dimension 0. And the quadric of dimension 0 is painful in that story because it does not have a CH0 equals z, it has a CH0 equals z2. So we have this situation, and x0 minus the singular point is isomorphic to x0 tilde minus the union of the exceptional divisors. So now I have my desingularization, my decomposition of the diagonal that I have for x0. I have it for x0 minus the singular point. So I have it for x0 tilde minus union of qi. So I see all these cycles rather on the cycles appearing here. I see them rather on x0 tilde minus the qi. I take the Zariski closure, and finally what I get is that, so I have this delta x0 tilde minus, well, I take the Zariski closure of this cycle z0, which is appearing, okay, minus x0 tilde cross x0. And I know that, so this z0, it pulled back here. And I know that, or maybe I should take this to indicate that I consider it here and then take the Zariski closure in x0 tilde. And I know that this cycle restricted to maybe call u. Okay, so this is any of these varieties. So this is 0 in Chn of u cross u. And it is here that the theorem stated for Chow groups is slightly easier to prove than for cohomology, because Chow groups have the beautiful localization exact sequence, which says that this vanishing, it is just saying that that is localization exact sequence is a big name for something which is totally trivial. This is simply saying that this cycle in Chn of x0 tilde cross x0 tilde, it is rationally equivalent to a cycle which is supported on the complement. So supported on the complement, namely x0 tilde cross x0 tilde minus u cross u, which is union over I of qi cross x0 tilde, union of x0 tilde cross qi. So this equality is in Chn of x0 tilde cross x0 tilde. Now, a cycle supported on this, it's a sum of, it has a sum of components, one component for each term here. Now, you see, so here I will have terms, residual terms Ri, and here I will have residual terms R prime I. Now, I absolutely do not care about the Ri because they are already supported on Qi. And in the decomposition of the diagonal, the only thing that is important for this term is that it is supported over D cross D0 cross x0 tilde. So for this term, I can put it here by adding to the D0 the Qi. So the only problem, potential problem is with this term. So now I have this R prime I in Chn of x0 tilde cross Qi, and I want to get rid of them. Now, the crucial point is the fact that Ch0 of Qi z is z, precisely that was a point that was not satisfied in dimension. If I was working with a family of relative dimension 1. And, okay. And so one observation that simplifies the proof, and that was in fact observed by Kollutinen and Pirotka, and that slightly simplifies the proof that I gave before, is the fact that I may assume that the cycle R prime I, so it's vanishes in fact under projection to Chn of x0 tilde, okay, by the first projection. So yes. So, but then this is finished because we know very well what are the Chow groups of this. So because here it's a quadric, and the Chow group of a product like this, it's the same as CHX tensor CH of Q. So that means that my cycle R prime I, it will be written as it's a decomposable cycle, sigma of W IV cross W prime I V, where this is a cycle on x0 tilde, so a cycle on Qi. The part which is of codimension 0 here, it will be 0 simply by this vanishing and the fact that CH0 of, so here this is a CHI of x0 tilde, and here it's a CHn minus I of Qi. So here the CHn part here will correspond to the CH0 of Qi. Okay, and this is, as I said, this part, it will vanish under projection, and I know that the CH0 here is Z. So in fact, it will not appear. And the other part is that it will be CHI with I smaller than n, and so they are already supported on some proper algebraic supported on a proper algebraic subset of x0 tilde. And this way, finally, I can get rid also of all these terms Q prime I. So that's it for the proof. So I am not going to give the proof for the cohomological in the cohomological setting. It's exactly the same strategy, except that you have to analyze this residual situation, and you have to be a little more careful, because cohomology is we do not have this localization exact sequence, or you have it in a slightly different form, but basically there is no extra difficulty. what I want to discuss now are the generalizations and the improvement of that result. Maybe before I do this, I explain the main corollary. So the corollary is the following result. Suppose that if you have x over b, so again it's a protective morphism. B is smooth, maybe a smooth curve if you like. Suppose that x0 has ordinary quadratic singularities, and for example, one of these invariants torque so here I have to assume relative dimension. That's very important. So this the optimum for invariant, or this second invariant Z4 of X, and more generally any unramified cohomology group is non-zero, then the very general fiber xt is not stably rational. So this is the way people have been using the statement, and the reason is that the even stronger result is that the theorem says directly that the very general xt does not have a Chow decomposition of the diagonal because well, it's just the chain of implication written in the contraposed way. Proved, so otherwise, xt has a Chow decomposition of diagonal. And then the x0 tilde by the theorem has a Chow decomposition of diagonal. And that contradiction, one of these non-vanishing. So the reason I've read very general is that statement, that is the structure. It's about the structure of the set. I cannot exclude the fact that there are countably many points where the variety is stably rational, or and in fact we know that this happened by the rework of Hassett-Pirulka-Tinkel. So yes, so it's a problem of quantification, logical quantification, and has to be careful about the structure of the set of T satisfying the property or not satisfying the property. Okay. Okay, so now I am going to explain various improvements. Sorry, so, well, of course, the main application was the degeneration of the general. Okay, so the xt, so that will be the general quartic double solid, double cover of Petri ramified along a quartic surface. specialized to the Artin-Mumford quartic double solid. So here the surface has ordinary quadratic singularities, and then the result, the situation exactly applies. So we are exactly in that situation, and furthermore, Artin-Mumford says that there is a non-trivial Artin-Mumford invariant here. And so in that case, one concludes that xt is not stably rational. And in fact, one concludes more, it does not have a Chow decomposition of the diagonal, it does not have a cohomological decomposition of the diagonal. So what is interesting contemplating this example is that the Artin-Mumford invariant itself, it has disappeared. So it was on the central fiber, and it was the obstruction to having the decomposition of the diagonal. The obstruction itself disappeared, but by the specialization theorem, you will conclude that the xt does not have a decomposition of the diagonal. And then tomorrow, I will try to explain, to describe really concretely in geometric term, this is related to the geometry of the Abel-Jacobi map, what prevents the existence of cohomological decomposition of the diagonal for the general xt. Okay, so the improvements. So there are one. This is a work of Koyotelem and Pirutka. The improvement is on the nature of the singularities, nature or on the restriction on singularities. As I explained, it's almost crucial to have a condition on the singularity. I put ordinary quadratic singularities, which of course, well, this is very, very restricted. And the observation, to tell the truth, is not very hard. It is this. So let's assume that, for example, we have isolated singularities. Okay. Then it suffices to assume that there is a resolution of singularities with rational fibers. If the singularities are not isolated, essentially you can do the same, except that you will need a resolution of singularities now over, of course, strata of the singular loci, locus, and we will need that this is, I will say, rational, rational over the function field. For example. So this is a case of non-isolated singularities. You want to have the generic fiber to be rational over the function field. So why is that? You just look at the proof, and you replace the Qi by any rational variety. And for a rational variety, you will have all the point is to get rid of this residual term R prime I. And if you have a rational singularity, rational variety here, you just have to decompose this R prime I in order to get only cycles which are supported on a proper subset of x0 tilde. So, and in fact, even the proof shows that you need even a weaker property of the Qi, simply that it itself admits a decomposition of the diagonal. And that's enough to to redecompose that cycle and to get the result.
Actual variety it has to be or you can have many components.
No, you have to be, no, really want reducible. You saw precisely in the case of dimension 1, there was this problem that I had these two components. No, I think no, one has to be careful. No, I think we really want something like this. I mean, yes, rational and connected. Mais I prefer to. So let me think about it. So maybe I will, well, maybe a chain of rational varieties. In the case of isolated singularities, that will be okay. For non-isolated singularities, really, you have to be careful. The thing has really to work over the generic point. Then we work over a non-algebraically closed field, things become more complicated. Now, the other important improvement in their work is that they replace the geometric degeneration, which was I was working over a curve, and then I was specifying, I was specializing to a closed point. They replace this geometric degeneration by specialization. And that means essentially that they do something over dvr. Then there will be the fraction field of R, the local dvr. So you dvr, then you consider the fraction field. You will have an assumption of the geometric generic fiber, that is you go to the algebraic closure of the K. That corresponds exactly to the fact that when I describe my story, at some point I had to do to take a ramified cover of the base. That is what's so that's why this is natural to work here. And you have also now the field of definition of the spectral point. So and then you will consider. So now you will have the X K bar, the geometric generic fiber, and the geometric spectral fiber. And then if you replace the geometric setting by this specialization setting, exactly the same result work. And this is particularly interesting if K is a number field, and you take for R the some localization of a ring of integers. And then the interest is that in that case you will work with varieties in a non-zero characteristic. So that in that case that will be some f q bar. So okay, so that was one of the improvements, and now so in particular that led the improvement of the assumption on singularities. This allowed them to prove that general or very general quartic hypersurface in P4 is not stably rational. Okay, so this was the work of Kolyot-Helen and Pirotka. So now what I would like to explain is something very beautiful, which is the extra contribution of Totaro. And what does Totaro? So now he works exactly in that setting. He uses word for word the results that has been established before. But the difference is that in this corollary here, he will use a different invariant. So I am going to explain that because I find this is very remarkable. This is an invariant that I have vaguely mentioned before. So, maybe I should add Collar because, in fact, he borrows to a construction due to Collar in the 90s, 95, I believe, where he was able to prove by a beautiful specialization argument that hypersurfaces of degree, so you consider X in Pn, so hypersurface of degree D, and this is about, the range is about this. And X, and Collar was able to show that the general hypersurface, very general hypersurface in that range is not rational. And what Totaro does, that a very general hypersurface that range of degrees is not stably rational. And in fact, this is implied by the fact that, by the stronger fact that if you take, you can construct, so there exists in that range of degree, X defined over Q bar, maybe even over Q, with a smooth, which is a smooth hypersurface like that, which does not have a Chow decomposition of diagonal. Okay, so and now this X, the fact that it doesn't have a Chow decomposition of the diagonal will be obtained by this specialization result. So in fact, more precisely, so this is implied by the existence of specialization. In fact, in that range, it's even over F2. Okay, so it's, but it's, maybe you need an algebraic extension. There is a specialization, well, X bar, okay, which does not have a Chow decomposition of diagonal, and sorry.
Yeah, something wrong with the D.
No, it's you are. The formula is not exactly like this. You have a. Sorry. It's absolutely not the right range. No, it's the inequality is the other way. Sorry, it's. I think it's this way it works. Sorry. Okay, so above degree n, we find Calabi-Yau, etc. You don't have to worry. But in between, we will find Fano hypersurface and so on. Okay. So he applies the specialization method. So and the specialization was constructed by Collar, in fact. Okay, and it doesn't have a Chow decomposition of the diagonal, and has a restricted singularities, which make the specialization theorem available. Okay, and now the interesting point, which is really the novelty in the Totaro method, is how does he prove that the specialization does not have a Chow decomposition of the diagonal? And the fact is that in Collar specialization. Okay, so this specialized X bar, which is a hypersurface or a limit of hypersurface or desingularized hypersurface over a field of characteristic 2. The point is that the X bar has a non-zero algebraic form. And this is in degree, so it's we are in dimension n and -1, so I think is this. Okay. So that was, in fact, already the ingredient in Collar proof, the existence of forms. That was what he used to show the non-rationality. And now I would like to explain something that I have not fully explained, or I did not give the correct proof about the fact that the existence of a non-zero differential here prevents the existence of a Chow decomposition on the diagonal. So if H0 of omega x over k is different from 0, let's assume that your k is, so maybe I have not been very careful here. In principle, we work over the algebraically closed field. X does not have a Chow decomposition of diagonal. Of course, I explained this over C, but I use the cohomological argument, which is not available anymore. Over C, the situation was very different because that was already implied with by a Chow decomposition with Q coefficients. But here it's essential to have a Chow decomposition with Z coefficients. And the proof, in fact, you can use algebraic de Rham cohomology class. So that means that now if you have a gamma, no, I will be interested to what happens in X cross X. So this is a cycle of codimension. Well, my thing has a dimension n-1 here. And then the de Rham cohomology class, it will belong to H n-1. I'll put the dimension n. So here it's all scalar differential or relative differential to the algebraic differential over the considered field. Okay, and using this algebraic de Rham cohomology class, you get an action of a cycle, which so this factors for and so finally you get an action of gamma so the dimension is n-1 now. So it's a gamma upper star from H0 of omega xl to H0 of So this gamma upper star is just a functoriality. You use various functorialities of the algebraic de Rham cohomology. So you have just a cube product and pull back and push forward. So now suppose that you have so if you have a decomposition of the diagonal, so Chow. Okay, so my X has a dimension n-1, also then I will have this equality that delta X is X cross X plus Z in CH n-1 of X cross X. And the Z is supported by like this. And as I said several times, this you can see this by saying that your delta x restricted to u cross x, it is x cross x restricted to u cross x in the Chow group of a u cross x, where u is the Zariski open set x minus d. Now you take the Ram cycle classes here. Okay. And that will be in the inequality in h n minus 1 of u cross x omega u cross x to the n minus 1. Okay. And then you let these things act on the differential forms. The point is that for the action, so it's an upper star action, you pull back, you take the product with this class, and then you push forward. You don't need that this one is projective. Only this one may need to be projective. So I get that for any alpha in h0 of omega x to the L, now I suppose that L is positive, then that class will act trivially on it because it factors through restriction to the point, and I get that the diagonal, class of the diagonal acting on alpha is 0. You get so delta x upper star alpha restricted to u, which is alpha restricted to u, is equal to 0. So I have concluded that my form alpha vanishes on the Zariski open set, so alpha is equal to 0. So in fact, I should have given this proof yesterday. Simply, I was in a cohomological setting with other application in mind. But in the case of holomorphic forms, it's even simpler. Okay, so the last, in principle, I wanted to mention also a beautiful improvement of due to Schreier, which in particular led recently to a very big improvement on the result of Totaro. There was this estimate on the degree, you know, this d like this. Okay, so and this Totaro estimate has been completely improved by Schreier. And the crucial point, so just take 1 minute to explain what is the nature of the improvement of due to Schreier on this method. In fact, the result of Schreier, it's also a specialization result, corollary of a similar form as this one. But now there is essentially no assumption on the singularity. The result is as follows, proposition. So suppose that you have our theorem. So now again you have a situation like this. Suppose that you well, so you just your pi will be projective flat, and maybe let's assume xt smooth, and assume that. Okay. And now you assume the following. Now the x0 might be singular, but you assume that there exists a desynchronization like this. Okay. Sorry. Plus a class, for example, an unramified cohomology class. For some some positive I, which is non-zero, and has the properties that alpha restricted to all the exceptional divisors of the desynchronization. equal to 0. Then, the general xt does not have Chow decomposition of diagonal. And thus it's not stably rational. So you see, well, it's similar, but the difference is that a priori, you have no assumption anymore on the nature of the singularity. The assumption is on the spectral class on the central fiber that will prevent the existence of a decomposition of the diagonal for the central fiber. The crucial condition is the condition that this class, in fact, typically, if you consider the case of this example that I gave, this warning example of the cubic surface degenerating to the cone over the elliptic curve, so the obstruction that you have on the central fiber is the fact that when you desingularize, there is a holomorphic form. Big problem. But the holomorphic form, it does not vanish on the exceptional divisor. So, and for example, the this Schreier statement, here I put unramified cohomology, but I could as well put holomorphic algebraic forms and then combine this with the Totaro method. The crucial point is this. And in fact, well, I have no time to explain. The proofs are all very, very similar, so it may be useless to multiply them. But it's important to realize that the assumptions are of a different nature. I'm stopping here.
The general fiber unramified cohomology or just
No. It's exactly. You see, it's exactly as in my work. The general fiber, you don't see the classical invariant. Usually, these ones they will be unstable. They will disappear. The thing which is stable, it is this decomposition of the diagonal. The only thing that this proves is the non-existence of a decomposition of the diagonal, and that can be Chow or cohomological according to the context. But so no, this story brought new obstruction to stable rationality. And this is precisely what I will explain tomorrow. It is true that this property of having Chow decomposition of the diagonal, we don't know really what it means, because how to prove it, to disprove it. And but now we know by this result that there are varieties with no non-zero classical obstruction like Artin-Mumford, etc., which do not have a decomposition of the diagonal. And I will try to explain which kind of obstruction we have, which are more, of course, in case less classical.
No further questions. Let's thank the speaker again.